Hi Philip, this is the video I'm gonna make for you regarding my basement and everything. This is the entrance to the house with the concrete floor in the front, and as we enter the garage, 5.5 meters wide. You can see, of course, it's full of shit since we just moved in. Haven't been able to clean it up yet. This is my garage. It's 62 square meters. You see this wall here. I just put it up so that nobody can fall into the hole which I put in the floor. I'm gonna take you around onto the side. There's the door I just put in to make it easier to access. The hole itself, because I use this to hoist down stuff to the shop in the basement, like heavier things. I use a chain pulley. And here is the hole itself. It's, as you said, 2.5 meters wide and long. This is made up of first concrete elements, maybe see it better at the end there, which are about 30 centimeters high. They have 5 centimeters of insulation, and then concrete on top, like 10-12 centimeters in the end there, and then 80 by 80 millimeter angle iron, which is welded on all the way and into the steel rebar that's in the concrete, so that's stuck and firm in there all the way around. The black plate there is just the water sealing that sits on top of the insulation and leads the water, stops the water from coming down into the basement and the concrete elements itself. Just put in a temporary stairway down because I use this as an easy access point to the garage, as I call it, or basement or workshop or whatever. Down here we have 130 square meters of empty space. There's the technical room, as we call it, for the house, which includes fuse box, water heater, and so on and so on. Also an extra toilet and washroom. That's the entrance to the basement of the house. And there's an exit door, and that's where we came down. And just a funny little one-column car lift I just got hold of, so I just put in. Just temporarily placed it there. Here is the hole in the whole of the basement. This is 50 centimeters deep. This is the small platform I made to be able to land the things that come down with the chain pulley, so that it's easier to take it onto the floor. This frame goes all around, as you see, and it has also a small, I don't know what you call it, but a small bucket hole basically, which is, I don't know, 30 centimeters deep, which I'm going to put a pump in and connect it to this hose, which pumps out any water that should maybe come down into this hole, which again runs through the floor into the technical room. All the light switch are automatic, so they just click on. Sure, it appears, there it is, behind the fuse box, and it's going to be connected to the main drain. But back to the main interesting part, the hole itself. Here you can see it from the end. 5 meter long, 2.5 meter wide, and it goes down to the hole in the floor, which is not 2.5, but it's 260. That means 5 centimeters wider, and 5 meters and 5 long. So we have 5 centimeters clearance all the way around. I just did that to be sure that the hole on top, when the lift itself comes down, I'm just made sure that if something is slightly out of way, it has then a 5 centimeters clearance in the bottom to be able to adjust for any miscalculations in the placement of the elements and the hole. The way I'm planning of doing this is that the top part here, call it the floor in the garage itself, the car park area, that is going to be permanently set on top here, and it's going to be locked with 4 hydraulic bolts, one in each, well, not fully corner, but say half a meter in on each end, so that it locks it with pins, so even if the oil pressure disappears, it still stands there and it sits permanently. In the same place where I'm going to put these bolts anchored, that's where I'm also going to anchor wires. These wires, one and then in roughly each corner, is going to go on pulleys, on a pulley system, and it's going to be attached at the other end inside the lifting plate itself. And I'm going to use these pistons, which I recovered from a forklift truck. These are hydraulic pistons which have then a stroke on more than 1.5 meters. The wires sit double on these hydraulic pistons, so that when they exceed their 1.5 meters, that is the same as 3 meters pulling on the wires, which is the total length I need from top to bottom. I'm going to make a double system just for double security. Since I have 2 pistons, I'm going to make 2 sets of wires, 2 sets of pulleys, 2 sets of everything. So if one of them collapses for some reason, either one of the wires break or there's a hose breakage or whatever, the other one will be powerful enough to do the job. That means it's going to be able to lift, I think it's 4 tons. I've calculated it. That means the plate itself is somewhere between 500 and 1,000 kilograms, plus a car 1,500, 2,000 kilograms, plus a little extra, so I said 4 tons on each cylinder. Total, that's 8 tons, so it should be, oops, that went the light again. That's a total 8 tons, so that should be significantly powerful enough. When then these pistons not extend but go inwards, they slack the wires, and the wires then lowers the lift plate that's upstairs, and it comes down and down and down, and then it goes into the pit in the basement. Down here I'm also going to have slightly similar system. I'm just going to have one big steel plate that sits in this pit. When it's in a so-called parked position, when the lift plate upstairs is placed in top and locked, still the floor down here will be a flush floor, similar to this wood plate that I've made here. So it's not going to take some room. It's going to still be like an available floor when the lift is in parked position. I don't want to waste this area just for a hole. So this plate downstairs here is going to be lowered then into the pit. I said I have 50 centimeters here, and it's going to go down then with a very, I think like a scissor lift system too. Like a double scissor or just a pivot that lifts the plate up and locks it in upper position, and when it's needed, this one drops down, so that there will be about 45 centimeters from the top of the plate to top of the hole, which then gives 45 centimeters available room to park the hoist plate that comes from upstairs. So the process is when I start this, the first thing that happens is that the hoist plate itself tightens the wires and lifts itself up to 3 centimeters, so that I can then read by switches in the locking device that all of these force has all this force and weight from the car has been transferred to the wires. That means that the 4 locking pins are then free, and when they are free, then I get to retract the locking pins. This is for safety reasons, so that I'm sure that all the weight has been transferred to the wires and the main pistons before I disengage the locking system. And then I can start lowering it down, and on its way down, the bottom plate here will then retract down into the floor and makes room for the hoist that comes down. When it comes down, it sets just onto this plate, which is then approximately 45 centimeters down the floor, and it will then the lift itself will be flush with the floor, just like this, so the car can just roll off and into the workshop. Yes, that's generally my plan on how I do this. I've also put in bolts in the ceiling here. I don't know if you can see them, but I put in these bolts, which are then bolted through the elements and up, and with a locking plate on top. I'm going to put a small I-beam in them, so that I can have a pulley system on them. Also one down here, which goes all the way to the other end of the shop. This is for either hoisting out engines or putting things into the lathe or whatever. So we'll see what we can do. Yeah, that's my introduction. Hope this can be of some interest for you. So I'll send this on to you in an email and see what you think. Okay, bye.